Welcome to the Dallas Sports Dude film study session of the Cowboys' Week 5 victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers. What were some positives, what were the negatives, and mainly, how did Dak actually perform? Let's take a look. So it was the second ugly win in a row for the Cowboys. Last week versus the Giants, this week versus Steelers, but hey, we'll take it. A win is a win, right? Teams have won Super Bowls with ugly victories. There were some positives. For starters, the Cowboys used a lot more pre-snap motion than they had previously. Through 5 weeks of the NFL season, Dallas ranks 18th in the NFL, having run 177 plays with pre-snap motion in it. In Week 5 against the Steelers, they ran 49 pre-snap motion plays out of a total 74 offensive plays. That was the most they've ran since Week 1 against Cleveland, where they ran pre-snap motion 42 times. Another positive is that Rico Dowdle finally broke out. He had a career-high 20 carries for 87 rushing yards. He even had another receiving touchdown, which is his second on the year. And the Cowboys finally realized what I think most of us have already seen, which is Rico Dowdle is the only usable running back out of that trio of him, Zeke, and Deuce Vaughn. On the season, Rico Dowdle is averaging a respectable 4.1 yards per carry, while Zeke is at 3.3 and Deuce Vaughn is at 2.9. Give Rico Dowdle the football. And hey, a game-winning touchdown drive, Sunday Night Football, that's a positive too. And Dak did have a very good last drive. He did miss a couple receivers, which we'll get into later. But overall, that was a clutch performance to end the game. And that's a positive that you can build upon. And so before we get into any negatives, let's take a look at some of those positives. So for this first play, this is the Rico Dowdle touchdown reception. And the Cowboys are going to run what's typically known as a mesh play, where you have these two receivers crossing over the middle. You have a guy sitting in the middle, assuming one of those middle linebackers goes with the crossers. Then you have the guy in the backfield running a wheel route. And then you have Rico Dowdle, who ironically is in the slot here, and you have Devontae Turpin as the halfback. Dowdle looks like he runs a post corner. Typically, that would be a wheel route or even maybe a streak, but if it was a designed post corner, that's fantastic because it worked perfect. If it wasn't, it was a great audible on the fly by him and a good read by Dak. So let's go ahead and start the play and take a look. You have the two crossers. Devontae Turpin's on a wheel route. He actually has his guy beat if Dak was able to stay in the pocket. But Rico gets on the outside of that defender. Dak scrambling to the right, sees it. Pretty good throw. Dowdle does a great job securing that catch and rolling under the football. The next play, this is a great audible by Dak pre-snap. He sees something and he's going to audible the play to this quick pitch out to Rico Dowdle, and it's going to go to the left side of the field. They're actually going to motion Rico in. My assumption is that he assumes Pittsburgh might be blitzing. So he's going to try to get outside of that blitz. But if you watch, it's a good audible. It's an even better run by Rico Dowdle. That's a good run. He kind of made something out of nothing there. Another positive, and it'll be the last one, ironically, that we look at, is the touchdown play. Pittsburgh is going to be in zone coverage, and if you watch, it's going to kind of sit along the goal line. All right, they're going to try to take that away. If Dak is patient enough, Jalen Tolbert's on a crossing route, and there's going to be tiny little windows where Dak could throw it. But if you wait long enough, he may get outside that defender. Dak did, and he delivered a perfect throw. Jalen Tolbert, a fantastic catch, and that's a great play. So there are positives, and the Cowboys won. However, it was an ugly game, and there's always room for improvement. Dak Prescott has a tendency, at least from my observations, to leave touchdowns on the board. And I want to show you 4 plays that show exactly what I'm talking about. And in low-scoring games, when your offense is struggling to move the ball and struggling to score, those can mean a lot. And on this first play, we're going to take a look at, it's actually the one before the game-winning touchdown pass. And it's not funny, but it's kind of funny. It's the one where Jalen Tolbert got drilled right in the nuts by the football. And that's why he actually had to come out of the game before Mike Tomlin called a timeout, which allowed him time to get back in the game, ironically, and catch a game-winning touchdown pass. But if you watch this play, yeah, Tolbert's kind of open. It's kind of a bad throw by Dak. But if you watch over here on the right, Jake Ferguson is wide open on a curl for a touchdown. If Dak makes that throw, the Cowboys probably win right there. But again, I think the injury that Jalen Tolbert sustained was just that he got racked pretty bad. And in fact, from the end zone view, if you take a look, I mean, he's crawling, asking God why, and that's a tough one. But again, it ended up working out, but there's a wide open touchdown pass that Dak could have delivered to Jake Ferguson. He left that on the board. If the Cowboys don't score on the next play to Jalen Tolbert, how was that play looked at? The next play, it is the end of the first half. The Cowboys have driven the ball down. They're in the red zone. They still don't have a touchdown. This is the interception that Dak threw that led to the drama surrounding what CeeDee Lamb said to him on the sidelines. What CeeDee Lamb actually said was, throw a jump ball, I'll go get it. And you can see why. I don't know what Dak is thinking here. It is just a perplexing and horrendous decision by him. Not only that, he stares down that route to CD. I don't know why he threw the ball there. I don't know if he's thinking CD's going to stop. But even if he did, that's a risky throw in the red zone with time running down in the half and you need points. Again, that pick right there took at least assumed 3 points off the board for Dallas in a low-scoring game. Can't make that mistake. Okay, and on this next play, this one's a tough one. Before the play, pre-snap, Dak Prescott sees that there are two safeties. It appears as though Pittsburgh is in a cover 2 defense, which typically means this safety splits this side of the field, this one splits that side of the field, and these corners, let's take a look at this one down here specifically, will either be in man or a flat zone, which will cover this area right here. Now, as the ball is snapped, this safety drops down, boom, to the middle of the field, which should immediately signal to Dak Prescott that this post is going to be wide open, money, jackpot, touchdown. But Dak doesn't see that. Instead, he throws the ball down here on this fake out in, which is covered. And you have that guy sitting in the middle. That's one of the only places you shouldn't throw the ball on this play. But Dak made that read before the ball was snapped. If he was reading the field, he would see this safety drop. And he would know immediately that that post is going to be open. That's a touchdown. If you're the highest paid player in the history of the NFL, you've got to see that and got to make that play. That's unacceptable from Dak Prescott. And on the final play that I want to show you, Dak is going to read blitz, which is correct. However, he's going to read it from the wrong place. And if he had actually read this play right, he's going to have Jalen Tolbert on a possible 60-yard touchdown right up the middle of the field. Instead, he looks at Jake Ferguson as his hot route and assumes that this slant is going to be open. Go ahead and take a look. And it ends up being a ball that he shouldn't have thrown because Ferguson didn't have good position on that defender. But look at Jalen Tolbert. Wide open. If Dak makes that pass, is he gone? He very well could be, and that could have changed the entire game. That's points left on the board. And it's not like Dak threw it in a better place or a place that was also safe. That was a bad play. You can't do that if it's a game that's close and your offense is struggling and you get handed mistakes like that by the Pittsburgh defense. You just can't do that. So all in all, besides those things, there's really not a lot to take away from this game or the Cowboys game against the Giants. They were both dirty, ugly games. The Cowboys defense did play surprisingly well without Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. So that's another positive to see if that can be sustained against a much better offensive team in the Detroit Lions this weekend. So that's going to do it. We will see you next week on the Dallas Sports Dude podcast. That will come out Tuesday or Wednesday, and then we'll have the following film study for the Cowboys-Lions game next Thursday. We'll see you then.